Imagine walking into a room filled with the warmth of family, the clinking of wine glasses, and the soft glow of a Thanksgiving feast, only to have your heart shattered by the one person who's supposed to lift you up. That's exactly what happened to Ellie Harper, a 28-year-old dreamer in Portland, Oregon, when her sister, Lauren, with a smirk and a wine glass in hand, announced to everyone at dinner, "Look, the family loser has arrived." The words stung like a winter wind, cutting deeper because they came from family in front of everyone who mattered, including Lauren's husband, Ryan's colleagues from Cascade Energy Corp. Ellie stood frozen, her cheeks burning, clutching a bottle of wine she'd stretched her budget to buy, while laughter rippled through the room. But what Lauren didn't know was that Ellie's so-called loser dreams, her passion for renewable energy, were about to turn the tables in a way no one saw coming. Hi, I'm your host, and today we're diving into a story of betrayal, resilience, and a jaw-dropping twist that'll make you believe in the power of proving doubters wrong. Picture this. Ellie's life wasn't like Lauren's, with her marble-floored kitchen and designer heels clicking on imported tile. Ellie lived in a cozy, mismatched studio apartment in southeast Portland, pieced together from estate sales and grit. While Lauren chased wealth in traditional banking, Ellie chased a vision, a world powered by windmills and solar panels. But to her family, that vision was a joke, a risky detour from the real success they expected. Have you ever felt like the underdog, doubted by those closest to you? Ellie's story will hit home if you've ever been told your dreams are too big or too foolish. Stick with us for the next hour as we unravel how Ellie turned humiliation into triumph, and how a single phone call from Ryan's boss changed everything. Let's step back to where it all began, with a choice that set Ellie on a path no one believed in, except her, the road less traveled, choosing passion over convention. Let's step back to a pivotal moment in Ellie Harper's life, when she was just a hopeful student at Portland State University, standing at a fork in the road. Her sister, Lauren, had already carved out a glittering path in banking, complete with designer suits and a life that screamed success. But Ellie, with her double major in finance and environmental science, felt a different pull. She wasn't dreaming of skyscraper offices or fat bonuses. She was dreaming of a world where clean energy wasn't just a buzzword, but a way of life. To her family, this was madness. Why ditch a safe finance career for something as shaky as renewable energy? You're throwing away your future on windmills. Her mom sighed at a family dinner. Yet Ellie saw what they couldn't, a future where sustainability wasn't a choice, but a necessity, and she wanted to lead the charge. So, Ellie took a leap, starting Harper Green Solutions from her cramped, eclectic studio apartment in southeast Portland, surrounded by thrifted furniture and stacks of environmental journals. The early days were anything but easy. She spent hours cold-calling city officials, pitching her ideas to businesses who barely understood carbon footprints, and racking up more no's than she could count. There were moments, late at night, when the glow of her laptop screen felt like her only friend, and doubts crept in. Maybe Lauren's smug comments were right, but then came a spark, a contract with the city of Bend, to craft a sustainability plan that slashed their energy bills by $50,000. It was small, but it was hers. Ellie dove in, mapping out solar grids and analyzing data until dawn, her passion drowning out the fear. That win opened doors, each project building her tiny firm into something real. Look at someone like Yvon Chouinard, who founded Patagonia not for fame, but because he loved the wild places he climbed. People laughed when he bet on eco-friendly gear. Yet today, Patagonia's a global icon, showing that purpose can outshine profit. Ellie's path was similar, while Lauren's banking job promised stability. It lacked the soul-stirring impact Ellie craved. Choosing passion over convention is scary. It's like stepping off a cliff, trusting you'll learn to fly. The mistake so many make is chasing approval, molding their lives to fit someone else's blueprint. Here's the small lesson when you chase what lights you up. You're not just working, you're crafting a life that matters, one bold step at a time. As Ellie's firm began to take root, something incredible was brewing under the surface. Her work was quietly shaping massive projects, some even tied to Cascade Energy Corp, where her brother-in-law, Ryan, was climbing the ranks. Little did Ellie know, her spreadsheets and vision were about to weave into her family's world, setting up a revelation that would turn everything upside down. Let's explore how Ellie's hidden impact started to ripple, long before anyone, including Ryan, noticed. The hidden impact Ellie's work shapes an industry. Picture Ellie Harper hunched over her laptop in her cozy Southeast Portland apartment, surrounded by mismatched furniture and the faint hum of ambition, while her sister, Lauren, was basking in the glow of her banking career. Ellie was quietly building something extraordinary with Harper Green Solutions. Her days were filled with designing solar arrays for small towns, crafting wind farm proposals, and helping businesses slash their carbon footprints while saving millions. One project stood out: a wind farm feasibility study along the Columbia River, a complex puzzle of environmental impact, grid integration, and tribal land rights. That study alone shaped $300 million in investments for Cascade Renewable Development, a company Ellie didn't realize was tied to her brother-in-law, Ryan's employer, Cascade Energy Corp. Every spreadsheet she built, every late-night analysis, was laying the groundwork for a clean energy revolution. But to her family, she was still just chasing windmills. Ellie's work wasn't just about numbers. It was about creating a future where sustainability and prosperity went hand in hand. Her firm helped the city of Bend save $20 million in energy costs over a decade, guided Portland corporations to hit emissions goals while boosting profits, and connected investors to green tech startups poised to explode. The renewable energy sector was booming by 2025. Yes, wind and solar capacity was growing 15% a year, according to the Energy Information Administration. Yet, Ellie's impact went unnoticed by those closest to her. Ryan, a director at Cascade Energy, was presenting her analysis to his board, unaware that the loser his wife mocked was the mastermind behind his strategic wins. It's like the story of NextEra Energy, a Eustace S. giant that leaned on consultants to pivot from fossil fuels to renewables, becoming a $150 billion powerhouse. Ellie's expertise was quietly reshaping an industry, proving that niche skills can have massive reach. The irony is almost poetic. While Lauren dismissed Ellie's work as a hobby, Ellie was driving the very strategies that propped up Ryan's career. Compared to traditional consultants pushing short-term profits, Ellie's focus on long-term sustainability gave her clients an edge in a world racing toward clean energy. The mistake many make is underestimating fields like renewables, thinking they're too small to matter. But here's the lesson: expertise in an emerging industry can make you indispensable before the world catches up. Ellie's work wasn't flashy, but it was foundational, like planting seeds that grow into forests. Her family saw a dreamer, her clients saw a visionary. As Ellie's projects gained traction, A phone call was about to change everything. Cascade's COO, Michael Torres, had noticed her work and wanted to meet. Ellie was on the cusp of a breakthrough that would flip her family's narrative upside down, and Ryan was about to learn just how vital his sister-in-law's little business really was. Let's dive into that game-changing moment and see how Ellie's world began to shift. The turning point. A game-changing opportunity. Now, imagine Ellie Harper sitting at her cluttered desk in her Southeast Portland studio, the soft glow of her laptop casting shadows across her secondhand furniture. It was just another Monday morning, filled with the usual grind of emails and project deadlines for Harper Green Solutions. But then, her phone buzzed with a call that stopped her heart. It was Sarah Lynn, her contact at Cascade Renewable Development, with news that felt like a bolt from the blue. Michael Torres, the chief operating officer of Cascade Energy Corp, wanted to meet Ellie in person. He'd been blown away by her Columbia River wind project analysis, a report that had quietly shaped $300 million in investments. Sarah's voice was brimming with excitement as she said, "Ellie, this is big. Michael doesn't meet consultants unless he's planning something major." Ellie's mind raced. This was no ordinary meeting. It was a chance to change everything. Ellie spent the next 3 days in a whirlwind of preparation, updating her portfolio, refining project proposals, and battling a nagging voice that whispered she wasn't ready for this stage. She chose her best charcoal gray suit, a splurge from her first big contract, and wore her grandmother's compass pendant for courage. The meeting at Cascade's sleek downtown Portland office was surreal. Michael, with his relaxed confidence and silver hair, didn't waste time. "Your work is exceptional. Ellie," he said, pointing to her report on his desk, "we want Harper Green Solutions as our primary renewable energy consultant, a $12 million 5-year contract to guide our clean energy strategy across the Pacific Northwest." Ellie's breath caught. This wasn't just a contract, it was validation of every risk she'd taken. Then, the kicker Michael mentioned that Ryan, her brother-in-law, had been presenting her analysis to the board, clueless that it came from the loser his wife, Lauren, mocked at Thanksgiving. Think of McKinsey's role in guiding ExxonMobil's shift toward renewables in the 2020s, a small team of consultants reshaping a corporate giant's future. Ellie's situation was similar, her scrappy firm now poised to steer Cascade's billion-dollar clean energy push. Corporations today lean on experts like Ellie because sustainability isn't a side project, it's survival. Compared to big firms with bloated overhead, Ellie's agility let her deliver sharper insights faster. The mistake many make is letting imposter syndrome hold them back from seizing high-stakes moments like this. Here's the lesson when opportunity knocks. Trust your preparation and step through the door, even if your knees are shaking. Ellie did, and it was about to rewrite her story. As Ellie left Michael's office, clutching a folder with the contract proposal, a fire sparked inside her. She knew the board meeting was coming, where Ryan would learn the truth about her work. The stage was set for a revelation that would shock her family and turn Lauren's cruel words into dust. Let's head into that boardroom and see how Ellie's quiet expertise finally roared, the reveal shocking the skeptics. Imagine the crisp November morning in Portland, Oregon, where Ellie Harper stood outside the gleaming glass tower of Cascade Energy Corp, her heart pounding with a mix of nerves and anticipation. Today was the day of the board meeting, where her role as Harper Green Solutions founder would be unveiled. Dressed in a sharp navy suit, her grandmother's compass pendant glinting softly. Ellie arrived early to the top-floor conference room. its floor-to-ceiling windows framing the Willamette River and distant Cascade Mountains. As board members filed in, Ellie spotted her brother-in-law, Ryan, carrying a stack of presentations, his face buried in conversation about revenue projections. Then, their eyes met. Ryan froze, confusion flickering across his face as he registered Ellie, his wife Lauren's loser sister, sitting confidently at the boardroom table. "Ellie, what are you doing here?" he stammered. But before she could answer, Michael Torres, Cascade's COO, called the meeting to order. Michael's voice carried a quiet authority as he introduced Ellie. "Ladies and gentlemen, meet Ellie Harper, founder of Harper Green Solutions, our new primary renewable energy consultant," he said, gesturing toward her. "Her team's insights have driven our $300 million clean energy strategy for the past 18 months. The room nodded approvingly, but Ryan's face was a kaleidoscope of shock, recognition, and dawning realization. He sank into his chair, staring as Michael praised Ellie's Columbia River Wind project, the very analysis Ryan had been presenting as his own strategic vision. Ellie took the floor, fielding complex questions about grid integration and financial models with poise. Her expertise shining before Cascade's board, Ryan's eyes widened with each answer. The truth hitting him, the sister-in-law he dismissed was the architect of his company's future. After the meeting, Ryan approached her, his voice low. "Ellie, I had no idea. I've been using your work for months." "I'm sorry." Ellie smiled gently. "It's okay, Ryan. Cascade kept it confidential. I'm just glad the work's making an impact." Think of Sheryl Sandberg, who joined Facebook in 2008 when many doubted its potential, only to become a pivotal force in its growth, surprising skeptics with her strategic brilliance. Like Ellie, Sandberg's contributions were initially underappreciated, yet they reshaped an industry. Ellie's quiet expertise had been the backbone of Cascade's renewable energy pivot, a sector where unrecognized consultants often drive seismic shifts. Unlike Lauren, who thrived on public praise, Ellie let her results speak, a contrast that made this moment sweeter. The mistake many make is judging others' worth based on appearances or titles, missing the depth beneath. Here's the lesson: your work can outshine your critics' doubts if you keep your focus on your craft, even when no one's watching. Ellie's boardroom triumph wasn't just a win, it was a wake-up call for those who'd underestimated her. As Ellie left the boardroom, a quiet satisfaction settled over her. She felt the weight of the moment. Ryan's apology was a small victory, but the real shift was coming. Lauren, still oblivious, would soon learn that her loser sister was now Cascade Energy's most valued consultant. The family dynamics were about to flip, and Ellie at the heart of it all. Let's dive into that family reckoning and see how Lauren and the Harpers faced the truth they'd ignored for so long. Family reckoning from doubt to respect. After the boardroom bombshell at Cascade Energy Corp, where Ellie Harper's expertise left her brother-in-law, Ryan, speechless. The ripples of her triumph were about to hit home. Back in her Southeast Portland studio, Ellie was still basking in the glow of her $12 million contract when her phone lit up with a call from her sister, Lauren. Lauren's voice, usually dripping with condescension, had a curious edge. "Ryan said he saw you at his office." "Ellie." "What were you doing at Cascade?" she asked, clearly expecting some trivial explanation, maybe a job interview for a real role. Ellie took a deep breath and dropped the truth gently. They offered Harper Green Solutions a 5-year consulting contract. "Lauren, we're their primary renewable energy advisors now, a $12 million deal. The line went silent, and then Lauren laughed, that familiar dismissive chuckle. That's cute. Ellie. Every little bit helps, right? But when Ellie clarified, no, $12 million, not thousand, Lauren's laughter stopped cold, her voice shrinking. I don't understand. How could your little business be worth that much? For the first time, Lauren was grappling with the reality that her loser sister was outshining her carefully curated success. That call was just the beginning. A few days later, at a family dinner in Northwest Portland, the Harpers gathered at their parents' favorite restaurant, a cozy spot with soft lighting and a menu that screamed understated elegance. Ellie's parents, who'd sat silently during Lauren's Thanksgiving jab, approached her with hesitant warmth. "Ellie, sweetheart," her mom began, her voice tinged with remorse. "Lauren told us about your contract. We're so proud, but we owe you an apology. We thought your environmental work was a phase." Her dad nodded, adding, "We didn't see what you were building. This is remarkable." Even Aunt Julia, Ellie's lifelong cheerleader, beamed, pulling her aside to whisper, "I always knew you'd show them, kiddo." The shift was surreal, where once Ellie had defended her dreams. Now she was the table's centerpiece, fielding questions about renewable energy with quiet confidence. Lauren, usually the star, sat quieter, her eyes tracing Ellie with a mix of awe and unease, even asking for business advice, a role reversal that felt like a quiet earthquake. Think of Oprah Winfrey, whose family doubted her media dreams, seeing her as a small-town girl with big ideas that wouldn't pan out. Yet, when her talk show became a global phenomenon, those same skeptics had to rethink their assumptions, much like the Harpers did with Ellie. Success can rewrite family dynamics, but only if hearts are open to change. Unlike those who cling to grudges, Ellie chose grace, welcoming her family's newfound respect without gloating. The mistake many make is holding onto pride, refusing to admit they were wrong, which blocks healing. Here's the lesson when you succeed against the odds. Your victory can mend broken bonds, but it's your empathy that keeps them strong. Ellie didn't need to prove a point. Her work did that for her, and it opened doors to reconciliation. As the family dinner wrapped up, Ellie felt a lightness she hadn't known in years. But the story wasn't over. Her firm, Harper Green Solutions, was about to soar beyond Portland, drawing national attention and cementing her as a renewable energy powerhouse. Let's explore how Ellie's quiet triumph exploded into a career that redefined her legacy and inspired others to follow their own path. Rising star Ellie's firm goes national. Just weeks after Ellie Harper's boardroom triumph at Cascade Energy Corp, her life was moving at lightning speed. Picture her standing in her new office in Portland's Pearl District, floor-to-ceiling windows framing the Willamette River, a far cry from her cramped Southeast studio. Harper Green Solutions had transformed from a one-woman operation into a powerhouse with 22 employees, a sleek headquarters, and a reputation that was catching fire. The $12 million contract with Cascade was just the start. Ellie's firm was now fielding calls from California utilities wanting carbon neutrality plans, Oregon municipalities seeking regional sustainability strategies, and even a Canadian energy company eager for her expertise. Her keynote speech at the Pacific Northwest Clean Energy Summit in front of 800 industry leaders was a game-changer, earning standing ovations and a cover story in Pacific Northwest business. Ellie wasn't just succeeding, she was reshaping the renewable energy landscape, proving that her loser dreams were anything but small. This kind of meteoric rise isn't unheard of in the renewable energy world. Take the Rocky Mountain Institute, or RMI, which started as a small consultancy in the 1980s, focused on energy efficiency. Critics dismissed it as niche, but RMI's strategic insights helped companies like Apple and Walmart go green, turning it into a global leader. Ellie's journey echoed her firm's work, like saving clients $20 million through efficiency plans, was driving real impact. By 2025, the U.S. renewable energy sector was booming, with investments hitting $500 billion annually, per Bloomberg NEF, and Ellie was at the forefront. Unlike traditional firms stuck in old models, her agility and vision gave her an edge. The mistake many businesses make is scaling too fast, neglecting systems to sustain growth. Ellie avoided this, hiring experts like former engineers and policy analysts to build a solid foundation. The lesson's strategic growth, rooted in expertise, turns a spark into a lasting flame. Ellie's success wasn't just professional, it was personal. The sister Lauren once mocked was now a sought-after name, with media buzzing and clients lining up from Texas to Colorado. Her family's doubts were fading, replaced by awe. But Ellie stayed grounded, driven by the same passion that started it all. Her story shows that when you bet on yourself, the world eventually catches up. But Ellie's journey wasn't just about proving others wrong. It was about inspiring others to follow their own path. As her firm went national, she was ready to share the lessons that got her there. Lessons that could light the way for anyone chasing a dream against the odds. Next, let's dive into how Ellie turned her success into a blueprint for others, offering practical wisdom and a call to find your own compass, just as she did when the world called her a loser. Lessons for the future following your compass. As Ellie Harper's star rose, with Harper Green Solutions now a national name in renewable energy, she often found herself reflecting on the journey that brought her here. Standing in her Pearl District office, overlooking Portland's shimmering skyline, Ellie would touch the compass pendant her grandmother gave her, a small silver token that had become her guiding light through years of doubt and triumph. That compass wasn't just jewelry, it was a reminder to follow her heart, even when her sister, Lauren, branded her a loser at that fateful Thanksgiving dinner. Ellie's story isn't just about proving skeptics wrong, it's about the lessons she learned along the way. Lessons that can guide anyone chasing a dream that feels out of reach. From her scrappy start in a Southeast Portland studio to keynoting at industry summits, Ellie's path shows that success isn't about fitting someone else's mold. It's about trusting your own direction, no matter how unconventional it seems. Let's talk about one of Ellie's employees, Mia Salazar, a young engineer who joined Harper Green Solutions after leaving a soul-draining corporate job. Mia's family, much like Ellie's, called her naive dream job, a naive dream, urging her to stick with stability. Inspired by Ellie's story, Mia took the leap, and now she's leading solar projects that power entire communities. Ellie's journey mirrors that of Greta Thunberg, who, as a teenager, faced global mockery for her climate activism, yet sparked a movement that reshaped policy and inspired millions. These stories share a truth: passion-driven work can move mountains, especially in a world craving purpose. In 2025, with 64% of millennials and Gen Z prioritizing meaningful careers over pay, per a Deloitte survey, Ellie's approach is more relevant than ever. The mistake many make is waiting for permission, letting fear or naysayers dim their spark. Here's the lesson: find your compass, your unique passion, and let it guide you, step by brave step, even when the path feels lonely. Ellie's practical wisdom boils down to 4 steps anyone can follow. First, identify what sets your soul on fire, whether it's clean energy or another calling. Second, build expertise through study, practice, or mentorship, like Ellie did with her double major. Third, ignore the doubters, but listen to constructive feedback that sharpens your edge. Finally, seek out mentors, like Ellie's Aunt Julia, who believed in her when others didn't. These steps aren't easy, but they're a roadmap to a life that feels true. Ellie's success, now celebrated from Portland to Danos Sausai, started with a single choice to bet on herself. Her story invites us all to ask, what's my compass pointing toward? As Ellie's firm soared, her family's narrative shifted from doubt to pride, culminating in a moment that sealed her legacy. Let's wrap up with how Ellie rewrote her story, inspiring us to do the same, and share a call to action that could spark your own journey. Conclusion: rewriting the narrative. As Ellie Harper stood in her new Pearl District home, hosting a family dinner just blocks from her sister Lauren's pristine townhouse, she could hardly believe how far she'd come. The Douglas firs outside swayed gently in the Portland breeze, and the laughter around her table felt warm, genuine, a stark contrast to that humiliating Thanksgiving when Lauren called her the loser in front of everyone. Now, with Harper Green Solutions, a national name, Ellie was no longer the family underdog. Her $12 million contract with Cascade Energy Corp had turned heads, from her parents' proud smiles to Lauren's newfound respect, asking for business advice over dessert. This dinner, filled with stories of renewable energy projects and industry accolades, marked a turning point. Ellie had rewritten the narrative, not just for herself, but for her family, proving that chasing a dream could outshine even the shiniest expectations. Look at someone like Sarah Blakely, who founded Spanx with $5,000 and a vision everyone doubted, only to become a billionaire by trusting her gut. Ellie's story echoes this. Her firm's growth from a solo operation to a 22-person powerhouse showed that success isn't about conforming, it's about redefining what matters. Unlike Lauren, whose banking career followed a predictable path, Ellie's unconventional road led to a legacy that inspired others, like the Portland State University Fellowship named after her to support young dreamers. The mistake many make is measuring success by others' yardsticks, money, titles, or approval. Here's the lesson: you have the power to craft your own story, one that aligns with your heart, not someone else's script. Ellie's compass pendant, a gift from her grandmother, guided her to a life of purpose and impact, and it can guide you too. Now, it's your turn. What's the dream you've been told is too big, too risky? Share your story in the comments or on social media with Sakchar's Find Your Compass, and let's inspire each other to rewrite our narratives. Ellie's journey shows that the path to success might start with doubt, but it ends with belief in yourself. If this story moved you, don't miss our next 2 videos, right on your screen, packed with more tales of triumph over skeptics. Click to keep the inspiration flowing, because your story, like Ellie's, is waiting to be told.